So a few months ago I made a video, a couple of videos about a suitcase that I found in December 2018 in Hawkshaw in Greater Manchester, next to the police dog training facility. And I made some videos of this suitcase, showed them to the police at the time, and said I was concerned. I thought it was suspicious. I've included some clips in my previous videos on this topic about some short clips of the videos that I showed to the police, and you can see in those videos exactly why I thought that this suitcase was suspicious. Based on what it looked like, its similarities to this case of the Manchester bomber Salman Abedi. I knew at the time the police were looking for this suitcase, and not just that, I knew they were looking in Bury at a waste processing site in Bury, which admittedly is on the other side of Bury to Hawkshaw, but still. A number of things that I raised with them I feel should have warranted further investigation by the police, mainly what was inside this case. But at the time I was simply told to go to the council because it was a fly tipping matter. Now I think that decision was absolutely ridiculous. I said in my last video that I was 50-50 whether this suitcase that I found in Hawkshaw is the same suitcase that this bomber had, but since then I've done some more digging, investigating. I found some pictures of the interior of the case, and I'm now much more confident that the case I found, if not is that case, is in some way related to it, or is an entirely different suspicious case for similar reasons. So, when I made my last video, I didn't have any pictures of the inside of the case. I don't know if after the bombing, they purposefully tried to wipe them off the internet, and they almost succeeded, and I was looking for months and months and months, and I was sure that, no, you just can't find pictures of the inside of that model of suitcase. But I eventually did. I found these images on some random Chinese website. I don't know if they're a supplier to Sports Direct, because I think at the time the police said he bought it from Sports Direct, so perhaps this Chinese website is the supplier or something, but I don't know. Anyway, I found these pictures. So you can see here, it is the same case. It's a Kangol case. And I know that because of the lining, both of the case that I found in Hawkshaw and the case and the interior of the case, which you'll see in a second, which is very similar. So it's a set of 4. We don't know what size one he had. I'd guess it's probably one of these two, because it looks big on these CCTV pictures to me. And if you have a set of suitcases, normally they have quite small, like cabin-sized ones for flights. I think that definitely looks bigger to me, but yeah, we just don't know which one it is. Maybe that one or that one. So we can tell it's from a set, and I'll go through some of these other pictures. I'll come back to that. But here, this is the main thing. So first I found this picture and thought, oh, no, maybe it wasn't that. But then, because there's nowhere near enough kangaroos. See, the Kangol trademark is this kangaroo image, a kangaroo with a tail here and the word Kangol written underneath. And I thought, hang on, there's nowhere near enough kangaroos on the lining compared to the suitcase I found. So if I go to some stills from the video I took in Hawkshaw, start opening. So here, wait, I'll come back to that picture. It's this one. So I thought, oh no, there's nowhere near enough kangaroos. But then I found, is it this one? Yes, this picture. And I thought, oh, hang on, that looks very similar. We've got a zip with one kangaroo kind of around the outside, and then in the footage I took, obviously it's not the same quality because it's screenshotted from a video where I was moving, but you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 kangaroos, and it's a row of 1 along that top edge. Here what have we got? A row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kangaroos. If we can look at a clearer one, if I can focus it. Come on, focus. I'll try and zoom in on the computer. If you can see here, the shape of this as well, you can see it's very similar to the kangaroo logo we've got here. We'll zoom in on one of these. So we have a tail hanging down, the word Kangol, its feet, its body, its humped body, and its head. Now, we're never going to get the same quality off a screen grab from the video, but if you just look at the general outline of that shape, I mean, you've got that same humped body, something hanging down, which could be a tail, it looks the same geometry to me, and then 2 feet and a head. It looks exactly the same shape. So we zoom back out on both. Okay, so if we count the rows of kangaroo on this lining, you've got 1 cut in half, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the lining material fits around 13 kangaroos on each side of the case, and it looks like maybe 1 width's worth of kangaroos is cut off by the zip. And if we go here, if we count we've got this line which was a zip, and there was a hump here which I think it might hide a row of kangaroos because it flaps down, like the material. There was a bump in the material. So we have 1 row, 2 rows, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on this upward bump. On the downward side of that upward bump, near the zip, on that top side, there was another row. And then just there at the edge, 13. So you've got exactly the same number of rows of kangaroo. Okay, so, I mean, like, that's already telling me this must be the same case, but we can't leave it there. If we go to this, the handle. Okay, zoom in there. And if I zoom in here. Oh no, hang on, I have a better picture actually, a better still. Oh yeah, this one. So if, and I'll come back to that, but if we look at this handle, if I zoom in as much as I can, and obviously these plastics were in awful condition, it almost looked like they'd been purposefully kind of burnt or melted before it was discarded in the countryside. You can see it's like, you know, when you burn plastic and it goes all like spiky and malfigured. But despite that, you've got these, I think they're probably like metal insets into the handle. You can see you've got a paler patch here, a paler patch here, and on this one you can even see quite a clear rounded shape to that silver inset. And if we go across to here, the same model of suitcase that Bailey had, you can see here you've got that exact same rounding. Maybe I've zoomed in a little bit too much there, it's quite pixelated. But here you can see there's definitely a rounding that's similar. And the way the handle, the part where your hand would go, the way it curves inward there, if we look here, there's definitely a similar kind of curve inwards, like a line there. I don't know, obviously it's been burnt, so it might not be exactly the same shape, but it's very similar. It would look like it's been burnt. I doubt that the hot sun would do that much damage. I know it could do on a very hot day, but it was really, really damaged, the black plastics especially. And then finally, the final exterior feature is this thing. Not the Rebels packet, this thing underneath it. So if we go over here to this picture, you can see it's a lock. I even found a better picture, a better image of that lock, a really good quality one. Let me just have a look. There. So yeah, this is the lock of the case, the same model of case that a baby had. And remember, I said it was a metal, like a metal, brushed metal pattern. You can't quite tell it out, make it out in mine. I just wish it was a little bit better quality, but it was that same brushed metal, I remember. But anyway, if we look at the lock, so first the position of it, we have this kind of relief. It's hard to make out on this picture, but down the side we've got this kind of a bumpiness, a relief, little bumps. I don't know what that is, a reflection perhaps, or a leaf or a piece of paper underneath the suitcase maybe. Again, yeah, it was in terrible condition, and it did round to the ground. That's why you've got this little shadow as well. It wasn't a right angle. It rounded, and it was crushed inwards. So it kind of alters the perspective of what those bumps would have looked like when it was new. But you can still tell it's got. If I go back to no, that's the smaller one. If I go back to there, you can see it on the side there, these bumps. There it is. So yeah, here, and what you've got is one bump, maybe half a second bump, and then this lock. And the key thing here really is you've got. No, I don't want to do that. Let's go back. Try to zoom in. Oh yeah, that's better. So we've got this lock with these little silver grips on each side, and you'd push those grips in to open the case. Now if we go back to the still from the footage I took, if you look there and there, you've got this one bump, maybe half another bump, just like that case. And then this lock with these paler coloured bits in the same position. I mean, I don't want to say for sure that that is the same model of case, but I mean, if we just compare them, it's very similar. And again, in the middle, this flap of material, maybe with 1 or 2 rows of kangaroo on. I think this is probably some sort of fungal growth or mould perhaps, or growing underneath this seam that links the two sides of the suitcase. But if we look here, we've got this flap with 1 or 2 kangaroos worth of lining material, and here we've got this flap with 1 or 2 kangaroos worth of lining material. We've got the silver feet. Obviously there's no feet on this side, so perhaps they're hidden on this side. if I remember rightly, I think the feet weren't on it actually. I can't quite remember. I don't think the feet were on it. I think it would be it may have been damaged so much that the feet weren't on it. I can't remember. But yeah, so how many kangaroos have we got on this flap? 1, 2, 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows, 6 rows, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 rows worth of kangaroo on that flap. And on this one, if it'll focus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there's 10 there as well. So, I mean, I don't want to say for sure that is the same model of case. Obviously, there may be very similar ones, but I mean, the features of it, despite it being so heavily damaged, suggests to me that it is the same model of case. And bear in mind, the police dismissed this as not suspicious. It's just crazy. And then, if we think about what was inside that case, oh yeah, so this book, if I zoom in on the book, yeah, we had 2 books in the case. This bottom one was a book called Good Friday by Lisa LaPlante. If we just quickly recap the contents of the case, we had a Revels packet, a sweet packet, an orange folder that was full of suspicious material, like a silky, satiny piece of fabric material. I speculated that could be a prayer mat, based on the other stuff in the case, like the Islamic literature in the orange folder. I don't know, but I'd guess that's what it was. We had a carrier bag, a white carrier bag, and then 2 books. Now in this I wasn't bothered about the top book. It was something to do with Israel or Palestine or something. Yeah, Palestine. I can't remember the title of it, but that one was a smaller book about Palestine. And underneath we had Good Friday by Linda LaPlante. Now I took this book and read it, and while reading it I discovered a few things that I went over in my last video. And there's clips of the suitcase and all the contents in my last video. But one of the things in it was we had an Arabic note. Now I got in touch with a lady that's first language is Arabic and she also teaches English. And she said that note translates to Hashim Haq. Hashim and then H-A-Q. Now she said it's probably a name, but Haq means truth. And Hashim, I mean, that is the name of the bomber's brother that is on trial at the moment. So, I mean, we've got this book with a note in that translates to Hashim Haq, which could be their full name, or it could be Hashim Truth. I don't want to overanalyze, but, I mean, we've got, oh yeah, the photographs. We had photographs in here too, on the back of one of which was the word Abedi. So we've got a photograph with the word Abedi on, a book with the Arabic equivalent of Hashim Haq in, or Hashim Truth, a fingerprint in that book, which I've got, in brown substance. I don't want to speculate what that substance is. Hopefully it's not poo. But potentially you've got that fingerprint linking this book to this orange folder with very suspicious material in, an altered gay pride route from 2016 with anti-gay Islamic scripture above it. What else? I don't want to say in my last video, but I didn't want to, but there was also stuff about DIY weapon making. So I think it was on one of the pages immediately after the altered gay pride route. There was a diagram of something. It didn't look like a gun to me, but it was a blueprint for something called the Chugga-Rugger or Chugaruga, Chugruger. Now I googled that, and what it came up with was a blueprint for a DIY 3D printed gun. Now I mean, if that doesn't add suspicion to the orange folder, I don't know what does. Yeah, I mean, and if you just look at the similarities between, I mean, especially if you look at that side and that side, it's very similar. I don't want to say for certain that it is the case, but I think it is certainly related to it, and definitely warranted a further investigation by the police instead of the terrible way they dealt with my report. Now, this guy's on trial at the Old Bailey at the moment. I've been following the case quite closely, because it's such a big case, and because obviously I am interested in it because of what I found and what I think it may have been. And if he gets off helping his brother kill all those people, then that's just awful. If the fingerprint in this book if this suitcase is connected to one of the Bailey brothers, and the fingerprint in this book is his, it connects him to this foreign folder full of basically terrorist material. I mean, you've got details on how making a gun by the sound of it, unless Chugaruga was something else. The only thing I could find under that on Google was a DIY gun. You've got anti-homosexual altered pride route. You've got the Islamic scripture, the printed where there was one orange highlighted in orange. I asked the Arabic speaking lady that kindly helped me what that was, and lots of it was apparently quite not extreme, but scripture that she said was about things like women should wear the veil at all times. And I was thinking kind of like the concert that the bomb went off at was an Ariana Grande concert, and I mean she's quite sexualized, isn't she, in the way she sometimes dresses with the boots, and kind of her overall image is not adverse to showing flesh. No, I mean, it kind of, I don't want to speculate any further than that, but I mean, all I can say is the lady told me that the scripture translates to literature about veil wearing for females, to protect their modesty or whatever. Yeah, and I mean, if this guy does now get off on the basis that, I think what he's been saying is he bought a load of acid, not to make explosive for a bomb, but for his car or something. Asked his uncle to buy it, I think that's what it says, for his car. Now, I mean, I don't know about you, but there's nowhere in my car that I would put acid unless he's going to try and claim that he built his own car battery and bought acid for the battery acid or what. But I mean, my biggest kind of worry now is this guy's responsible for killing 22 innocent people, and the police have chosen for whatever reason to dismiss what I told them as not suspicious, Greater Manchester Police. And this book, which I've got, has a fingerprint in, which could potentially have connected him to this orange folder, which connects him to this case, which could potentially, maybe experts could have looked at it and proven in ways that I've missed, perhaps, that it is or is not the same case. Like, I don't know, just the fact that what I reported wasn't further investigated, it's just... And then the visit I got the following day from officers about their claimed identity issue, that I all but proved false, by proving that there's no one else in the UK that's existed with the same middle name or date of birth as me. Yeah, they got my address to visit me off a database that would have also had my date of birth on. So yeah, like I said in my last video, for a police force to be so kind of irresponsible that they would not work with you about what you've reported, but kind of send officers around to almost intimidate you. I mean, I was just trying to help them. I found this suitcase in the countryside, thought it was suspicious, tried to report it. I mean, what they did was send 2 police officers, and it could have been a coincidence. Maybe it was an identity issue. But if there was an identity issue, then it's very bad police work, because there's no one remotely close to my identity parameters. That's what I've been informed. So yeah, I found the suitcase on the Sunday in December 2018, reported it on the Monday morning, because I couldn't on the Sunday. And then on the Tuesday in the evening, get this visit off 2 plainclothes police officers. Don't make any mention of the suitcase whatsoever. Take my passport off me, take all the details of it, take my whole life history, what schools I've been to, siblings' names, parents' names, mother's maiden name, all that. Just basically got as much of my personal details and life history as they could. And I've asked why, and the police are now like, oh, we can't find any record of it. I've got a recording of the 101 call that I made after that visit on that night, where the lady on 101, she was quite quick to help me, did confirm that it was a genuine police visit. Yet Greater Manchester Police are now saying that they've got no record of the visit. Probably because they know that I know exactly why they visited and just don't want to admit it. There was no identity issue, in my opinion. It's got to have been about this suitcase. Like I said in my last video, I think that I reported it on the... When did I report it? The Monday. Yeah, the Monday morning. And by the Tuesday evening, I think it had got through to someone with more common sense than the lady that I reported it to, that has realised, oh, it's a report of a blue suitcase, abandoned. Should we not investigate it, seeing as we're supposed to be looking for a terrorist blue suitcase right now? I mean, what a crazy oversight that is. But yeah, I'm going to continue following this trial, see what happens to him. But if he does get off, it's just awful, considering that this was overlooked, and the severity of kind of the damage that was caused in that particular bombing and the lives that were lost. Okay, so I'll leave it there.